Hello everybody, my name is Mark Beale from Ray White Whitsunday. Welcome to our May property update for the Whitsundays. We are lucky enough today to have the wonderful Kate Andrews from our property management team, and Kate's role is a business development manager. So what that means, she's going to explain very shortly. She's very excited to be here today, we can tell. So Kate, welcome, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
How's the market? Because we hear different things from different people. Overall, what do you think?
The market is still doing really well. It's
Yep.
still really strong. Prices are holding. We are finding that there's more properties on the market than in the last couple of years, probably the last 12 months,
Yep.
which is good for tenants because there's more to choose from.
Yep.
But we're still finding the vacancy rates still fairly low. Prices are still holding really well for investors, so they're
Yep.
still really getting that great price
Yep.
back for their property. There's still lots of tenants around there. So
Yep.
the team's roughly doing, for the last 4 months, we're roughly securing 20 new properties
Yep.
with tenants
Yep.
every month, so which is a good number. At the moment, we probably have 15 to 20 properties on the board.
Okay.
So by the end of the month, they will be gone.
And what's the breakdown if there's 20 properties on the board available? Would it be 50% houses, 50% apartments, or?
So we're finding a bit of shift at the moment. Probably in the last month or so, there's a lot more units,
Okay.
and at the moment we have about 9 houses to rent. So if you've got a good family 4-bedroom house with a pool, they're renting quite quickly. Family homes are renting quickly. There's a lot of units at the moment, for units in town and around other areas.
Okay, so what would the average price be for a 4-bedroom house in Canberra?
Yep, so we're still finding that, your standard 4-bed, 2-bath, double garage, renting somewhere about $750, probably closer to the $750 mark. If you've got a property with a pool, you're easily looking over that $900, close to $1,000, which is
Many people looking for pools, I imagine?
Yeah, it's a little bit harder in the winter months.
Because it's so cold here.
That's right, but we still have a lot of investors, we have tenants down south who, it's not as cold for them here.
Yes.
So they still rent quite quickly. I think we have 1 property on the market at the moment with a pool.
Okay, and what about apartments? 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, like a Bay Breeze, for example, purchase price about $400,000. What are they renting for?
Bay Breezes are renting quite well. So again, it depends on whether you're furnished or unfurnished will determine what that price will be.
Yep.
And so a Bay Breeze apartment probably anywhere around the 600 mark.
Okay.
If you're furnished, maybe 650.
Okay,
So
so 300 a room, roughly?
Yeah.
So only an extra $50 a week for furniture. It's probably not worth investors' investment, is it?
Depends what the furniture's like. So that's a big part of my role when I'm talking to investors.
Yep.
If you've got a furnished property, is it worth keeping that furniture for the price we're going to obtain, or maybe removing it, or maybe just keeping white goods to determine what that's going to cost you at the end of the financial year?
And of course, white goods, everybody knows a washing machine doesn't really last more than 3 years these days,
If
like
you're
they
lucky.
used to. So replacing all that, and if the tenant goes in and it's fully furnished, and the washing machine breaks, well, you have to replace it, right?
That's a big thing we look at. So when I've got a new investor and they've purchased a furnished property, or it's an owner who's going to rent their home fully furnished, we really need to cull what those issues might be for you as the owner. So making sure that you do have good appliances. They're maybe like not second hand and may not last you the 12 months because you're looking at your price on what you're going to achieve, and if you have to replace those things in your financial year, what it's cost you at the end of the day.
Costs a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
So put you on the spot, cheapest apartment we've got?
Cheapest apartment at the moment is probably $500 for a bed sitter in town, partly furnished.
1 bedroom, you mean?
Well, it's a bed sitter.
So like a studio.
A studio apartment, partly furnished, completely renovated, really cute in the heart of town. Really good for people working in town.
What about properties above $1,000 a week? Is that pretty common, or?
Not at the moment. A lot of properties that we had at that price have all been rented. Like I said, we've got 1 house at the moment, $970 on Abel Road for a house with a pool, and I can't imagine that'll last too much longer.
Yeah, with a pool. Okay, fantastic. So, your role in our business, and you do a fantastic job. I have to say, everybody loves you. Everybody raves about you. If you're thinking of renting your house, make sure you talk to Kate. What's your role in our business? Give everyone a...
So my role as the business development manager, I've tried to change a lot.
Yep.
So introducing our investors, first-time investors, owners who are thinking of renting their home, it's really important from the start that we get everything right. There's a lot of legislation changes that we've had in the last 2 years. A lot. It's a lot for our team to keep up with, constant training and things like that, so that our investors are aware from the start all of their obligations and what they're going to be, like preparing them for becoming a landlord.
Yes, it's very important. There's a lot of loopholes, a lot of potholes, a lot of things can go wrong.
If you don't have it correct from the start, then I feel you're kind of setting yourself up. So my role is to come in, obviously do your rental appraisal, let you know what market value is, but then we're also looking at everything too, like having your bonds clean, carpet clean, lawn mowing. Is there any compliances that we need to look at? Your smoke alarms, safety switches, your pool, all these things. There is a big list. Sometimes it can be a big outlay for owners, and so the easy part can sometimes be purchasing the property. And then they meet me, and I make them spend $5,000 or $10,000.
Do you step them through that?
Step by step, guide them through. Lots of information that I send through. Lots of information about legislation. And I help them with our trades and getting that work done, so it's done correctly. We start off right, and most important that I let owners know, you need to have your property A1, so we find that A1 tenant.
Rather than when the tenant goes in as well, and the tenant sends you all the maintenance requests, and you're on the back foot.
That's right.
And then the tenant, when they move out, you know what they say? It was like that when I moved in, and it's better now. We don't want to do all that stuff.
We're really trying to eliminate, especially for new investors as well, that we get everything right from the start. Your tenant comes in, you set and forget. You don't need to worry about it again.
Just collect the rent.
That's right.
Good point. Top 3 things an owner should consider when renting their property.
So first of all, definitely knowing what the market's doing, what market value is, what they really will achieve for their property is really important, and really not going over that. So your best bet is to set at maybe a bit of bottom level so that anything on top is a bonus. The second thing is really investigating who is going to manage your property. It's really important to get that right from the start. Having a good agent, making sure they've got a strong team, that they're up to date with all this legislation, so that as the owner, you are covered.
And not necessarily the cheapest agent is the best agent. That's a whole nother discussion.
That is definitely, the cheapest agent is not always the best agent.
Maybe next month we'll get Kate back and we'll do some discussions around that.
There's definitely a lot of anguish for owners for sometimes going with the cheapest agent.
Right, okay. Next question for you. What should a tenant do to ensure they've got the best chance of securing a property, because it's not easy at the moment?
So again, for tenants as well, knowing what your price bracket is, and again, not going over that.
How much you can afford.
Exactly.
How do they do that?
So they will work out your income, if you've joint incomes, what you can afford for the property. Make sure you don't go over your budget. It's really important. And for tenants, when you're applying, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row with your application. You filled the form in correctly, you've provided everything that's asked on the application. Makes it a lot easier for us to process, a quicker process. And third of all, make sure you let all your referees know that we will be contacting them.
I constantly hear that. The applications are being delayed because they can't get hold of a referee, and the tenants are chasing us. Saying, what's happening with my application? And we're saying to them, your referees aren't calling us back. So if you're watching this and you're a tenant, that is a really important part of the puzzle.
Definitely.
Excellent. Do you have any other topics you'd like to talk today? I've got a few statistics I'd like to talk about.
Really just for owners, I guess, making sure from the start, like if you're looking at putting your property up for an investment or you're a first-time investor, really investigating what that looks like for you. I have a lot of people that come through and they just think it's easy as putting a tenant in, collecting the rent, and then little things can go wrong, like say if your hot water system blows. And that's your whole month's income gone. Just making sure you have like a buffer, a surplus for things like that. That's really important.
Good points. Righto, folks, to wrap up today, some statistics. Since January 2005, our average rent has increased over 2% since then. Since January 24, we've seen a 7.5% increase in our average rent in our office. In the last 12 months, we've received 1,300 tenant applications,
yep.
which is a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot for the team to process.
A lot of paperwork, a lot of inspections.
Yeah, again, if they're not filled in correctly, that's a lot of time.
A lot of extra work for us as well. 76% of the leases we've signed last month are 12-month leases. How's that changed?
That's changed a lot. So pre-COVID, we used to have a lot of people signing for 6 months, even sometimes a request for a 3-month lease, which is not that beneficial to an owner sometimes unless they really want that. Since COVID, you know, when we've had the housing shortage, we've really found 12-month leases are the way to go now. So that's a lot of security for not as owners, but also for a tenant. You have security that you've got your home for the next 12 months.
100%. And that dovetails in the next statistic. Less than 1% of our leases in our office are periodical.
Yep, so
security, right?
100%. Since that legislation changed, it's really important that owners do not continue under a periodical agreement. You need that security of having a lease in place, which is why it's important. A lot of owners will know that we're continually chasing lease renewals just to ensure that everyone is secured.
And we go to our owners 3 months before the lease
3 months prior
finishes, just to make sure if they want to sell it, that the lease is not extended. There's a lot of things can happen in that period.
That's correct. It's really important period, that time.
And our last statistic, over 800 routine inspections in the last 5 months for our team. So very busy, really important part of it. Check if your agent is not doing that, they should be.
It's a big part that I always let our first-time investors know, that we can always guarantee you're going to get that routine every 3 to 4 months. So when the tenant moves in, we do one at the first 8 weeks, and then you're on a rotation for about 3 to 4 months, so you're getting that routine. That is guaranteed by our office.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Mark.
For your experience and your time. We'll do another session soon. Thanks for having a coffee with Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.